In the remotest villages of Ha Giang, there exists an ancient ritual that the locals never speak of to outsiders. They call it the offering. A group of researchers was invited to a remote village on the stone plateau to document traditional ceremonies. The villagers welcomed them with smiles. But when night fell, they began to hear the haunting sound of leaf horns echoing from the darkened earthen houses. On the third night, they saw figures dressed in black indigo robes, standing motionless in the thick fog. These figures did not move. They did not speak. They simply stood like statues. When one researcher approached, the figures vanished into the mist. The next morning, they discovered an abandoned house filled with tattered black cloths hanging from the rafters. Inside were dozens of faceless effigies made of bamboo, ranged on altars covered in cobwebs. On their final night, they were awakened by the sound of leaf horns reverberating through the valley. Under the moonlight, they saw a procession of black-robed figures marching toward an empty clearing. At the center stood a bamboo coffin placed over a small fire. As they approached, they saw a child's mummified corpse wrapped in red cloth lying inside the coffin. Surrounding it was a circle of human skulls. Then every figure turned toward them. Beneath their hoods were no faces, only darkness. One researcher fled back to their lodging in panic. When he looked out the window, he saw himself standing among the figures, arms raised in supplication. The figure that wore his face had no eyes, no mouth, only shadow. The villagers later explained, hundreds of years ago, when famine and plague threatened to wipe out the entire village, they performed a forbidden ritual. They offered their newborn children to the stone demon, the spirit of the plateau, in exchange for the survival of their people. Since then, those sacrificed children have never been permitted to leave the village. They became the Faceless Watchers, forever guarding their ancestors' pact. Any outsider who sees them must join the ritual. They become one of the faceless figures, condemned to stand eternally in the fog of the stone plateau.